You all don't really know very much about me. You have a little bit of an understanding of my history, but one of the things that I'm pretty good at that you may not be aware of at all is putting on public relations stunts. I could tell you many, many, many stories, but let me tell you just one, just to give you my bona fides before I tell you about the coming PR stunt that I hope will take place. I think it will take place, and with my recommendations on maybe some of the aspects of how that PR stunt might work. Anyway, my story is that years ago, the Santa Monica folks, the Department of Transportation in California decided to put a diamond lane on the busiest freeway in the world between Santa Monica and downtown Los Angeles. I thought it was a stupid idea, and so did the Highway Patrol and many, many other folks. And so I formed an organization called Citizens Against Diamond Lanes, and we put on a PR stunt. The PR stunt was that we hired an antique hearse. We had that antique hearse outfit and then a truck behind, a flatbed truck behind that hearse with some of our members on that flatbed truck, and they were holding signs that said "Death to the Diamond Lanes." And then we had 81 cars of our members, one person per car, behind that flatbed. So we had the hearse and then the flatbed and then 81 cars, and all of those cars had one person to a car. And then we left Santa Monica at about 7:45 in the morning, and we hit the Santa Monica Freeway Diamond Lane at about 8 o'clock, and we all just drove right into that Diamond Lane, one person per car. Now, I had a conversation with the Highway Patrol the day before, and I said, you can just let us do this stunt. We just going to do this PR stunt, drive the length of the diamond lanes. We'll get off. We're going to go over to Jerry Brown for president. Believe that or not, Jerry Brown for president headquarters. And that's the whole stunt. And you can just let it happen. And they're like, well, we hate the diamond lane, but we're not sure we're going to be able to just let you do that. So as we drove down that diamond lane, bunches of every exit, every entrance, I guess, to the freeway, Highway Patrol sweep down, and they came in, and we had about, I think it was 17 of us arrested, or given citations for driving one to a vehicle in a diamond lane. Well, that, of course, helped the PR campaign. We got go-to-war headlines like this on all three of the newspapers, the Los Angeles Times, what was that one called? The Herald Examiner. No, I mean, go-to-war headlines. We were the lead story in the evening news. Anyway, that's PR. That's a PR stunt. So I know a little bit about putting on PR stunts. Yeah, that whole thing was my idea. It was my organization. I started it. We had about 500 members. So I'm thinking that Elon Musk, who also knows something about PR, SpaceX, the whole idea of SpaceX was he was gonna buy a rocket from the Russians. He was gonna just buy a rocket. Say, hey, you guys don't need that one anymore. It's used. You're not using it. Can I have it? I'm going to shoot that baby up to Mars, and that's going to have a little robot arm that's going to come out, and it's going to put this plant on the ground in a little dome on Mars, and have a camera. It'll take a video of that plant growing on Mars in this little environment. And this was going to be a PR stunt to get the United States back interested in being in the space business because he was sad that the United States no longer cared about space. That was a pretty cool PR idea. I'm sure it would have gotten him lots of press. Well, okay, let's talk about what I think he should do. And it's not my idea, but because actually he said a few years ago that he was going to do this, but I'm going to amplify. I'm going to give my ideas around it that I think would just make it even better. Maybe he would have done these things without my help, but if you think I'm right, maybe you'll make copies. You'll send it off to friends. Maybe you'll, put it on Facebook or whatever. Maybe you'll get this thing going. Maybe Elon will see it, and maybe these ideas will, or somebody within the organization will go, wow, those are good ideas, Randy. I think we should do that. So what did Elon say he was going to do? A very, very significant PR stunt in order to promote FSD and robotaxi. He said, when it's ready, he was going to get into a robotaxi or into a car equipped with FSD, and he was going to have it drive him from coast to coast while he sleeps and does whatever, plays games. And it's going to be a coast to coast ride with no hands. And I think now that there is a cyber cab, to me, number one, I would do it in the cyber cab. There is no steering wheel. There is no pedal. That alone is going to make it more interesting. It'll also promote the idea of the cyber cab and give everybody that's not paying attention right now, they'll pay more attention because it's in this vehicle that's a brand new thing with the fun doors and everything else going on, and the slingback seats, and only two seats in the car. And, I think that all by itself, the fact that he would do it in that vehicle would be just huge. Now, this kind of thing, by the way, I was involved years ago also in the bicycle industry. They would have this race across America where various athletes, various bicyclists would race across America, see who could get across America fastest. And we, as a company in the industry, we would support that with some of our products. We would get product endorsements. So I was very actively involved in that race across America thing, and of course, it got tremendous amounts of press, huge amounts of press as it went across the country, and as these guys tried to do it in under 5 days, or I can't remember exactly the numbers now, but it was very, very fast. Maybe it was 10 days, maybe it was 10. I can't remember now. It's been too many years. Anyway, and then every year they're trying to beat the old record, and then they did it on tandems and all kinds of ways. Anyway, that was a great stunt, and it worked really, really well. It got tons of press for the industry, and people were very excited to participate in it. Anyway, if Elon Musk himself, this has got to be Elon, in order to make it really work, he's got to be the one to get in the car in Santa Monica or Fremont or someplace on the West Coast, and then have that car put in the Navigator, someplace in New York City. Maybe it's the Buffalo plant out there in New York. But anyway, some kind of a location, put it on the Navigator, and then have the car take off. Well, you got to know the entire country is going to be paying attention. This will be one of those things where half the country will be going, yeah, I hope he does this. We really got to root for him. It's very exciting that he's going to do this, and we want him to be successful, because why not? And then half the country will be going, wait, that jerk, I hate him, or they just don't like, they always like to see somebody that's trying something goof up, because that makes it more, if it bleeds, it leads type thing. But believe me, the press would be all over this for the entire trip. Now, the entire trip, because I don't think it's going to, stop for 6 hours at night for Elon to take a rest in a hotel, because part of the whole thing would be he'd be sleeping in the car. So I think it's only going to take 2 days or something like that. But as he goes across, there's all kinds of possibilities for what can happen as he's going across while he's getting all this press. Number one, of course, he has 240 million followers on X. So he's going to be posting to those followers, and they're going to be paying the closest attention of anybody. And so he's going to be posting to his followers and saying, well, here's what happened today. And here's, you know what? It's so beautiful here out here in the desert. Or, as he goes across, he's going to be talking to his folks, the people that pay attention to him. Number two, during the ride, he's going to have the vehicle equipped with Starlink, of course. Of course he will. He'll have a dish. And that'll be one more thing that he can be promoting and advertising on the trip, is the fact that out in the middle of the desert, out in the middle of the prairies, out in the middle of anywhere that he's going across the country, he will always have full connectivity. In fact, good enough connectivity for him to play his video games. He can be working on getting, top ranking in whatever game it is that he's involved in at the given time. So he can be playing video games as the car is going along on Starlink. You get it? He's going to get more, but that's going to be one more thing they're going to be talking about in the articles, is phenomenal speeds that he can operate at everywhere in the country on Starlink. Now, he'll do Zoom calls, of course, as well. And so he can handle business issues, or he can do interviews. He can have interviews. I would say probably he would want to go with Joe Rogan, and, that would be an absolute certainty. And then probably Lex Friedman, because what? Then he's going to get millions of additional views, millions of additional people from those two shows who are going to be noticing the ride, paying attention to the ride. And there's millions and millions and millions of people that are going to, just because of those interviews. So I would think those two interviews would be enough. Maybe there'll be a few more. Maybe there'll be some other influencers or some press that he could have interviews with along the way. He can also, like I say, have business transactions. So he can, call the Texas factory and, be talking about, oh yeah, you got a problem on line 3, on this new, X line or whatever, some product that's being developed at any given time. Oh, Optimus. Oh, yeah, let's talk about how we're going to fix that actuator that isn't quite doing what we want it to. Anyway, but those are the kind of things you could do. Again, giving the folks the idea that, if you have a chauffeur, an electronic, a computerized chauffeur driving your car, well, it frees up your time. It allows you to do business. It allows you to chat. It allows you to be on social media. It allows you to do all these kinds of things that you would otherwise have to spend driving along. Of course, you'll be looking out at the view and enjoying the view, which if you're driving, as all of you know, it's not as easy to be taking in the view and staying safe. Then, of course, he'll have millions of folks that will become instantly aware of FSD, unsupervised. They'll become aware of robotaxi. They'll become aware of cybercab. And all of that will be because of this ride. And there's got to be people that will end up wanting to buy the vehicles. There'll be people that currently have the vehicles that will say, boy, I guess it's time for me to do FSD. There will be people who are in the process of buying a vehicle, or when they buy the vehicle will go, I guess I should add FSD. And of course, he'll be talking about other products in the line. He'll be talking about energy. He'll be talking about the trucks. He'll be talking, the semi-truck. He'll be talking about other things that Tesla does, as well as, I'm sure, he'll be talking, well, people will be automatically understand. He'll be talking to Grok. For sure, he'll be talking to Grok in the car during his visit. He'll be maybe having a philosophical conversation or a political, hopefully not a political. Anyway, a philosophical conversation with Grok, or possibly just asking Grok, how many acres of wheat do they in fact produce in Kansas in any given year as he goes across Kansas or Missouri. So we can have that kind of conversation, or you can say, hey, it looks like the next stop is going to be this particular stop. It's going to be time for lunch. What would you recommend for lunch in this town, etc. So now he'll also have to stop for energy a lot of times along the way. And as he does that, it's going to prove to millions and millions of people that might be wondering, how are there places to charge? How do you find those places to charge? People will go, oh my gosh, the car selects the place to charge. It just goes there. Oh, that's crazy. And then when it gets there, it just backs into the slot all by itself. Oh, that's wild. Of course, if he's in a cybercab, it won't be back in the slot. It'll be moving over a pad. So I guess they'll have to arrange that in advance, because the pads aren't going to be everywhere in the early days. Or I'm sure they'll work out that little detail. But one way or the other, we want to get folks to understand that there's plenty of places to get charged up, and that it only takes, 20, 30 minutes, depending on where you go, to get the charge that you need to get to your next destination. And then we'll have a lot of time. He'll have a great time to also show other features of the vehicle and the entertainment center. He can show, that you can light up a fire if you want to have a romantic time. You can definitely have the thing, fart under your neighbor. The speaker systems are phenomenal. Well, depending on the car, I don't know how good they're going to be in the cyber cab if that's what he takes. But there's so many features, and he could just kind of go through them, as one of the exercises. Oh yeah, I haven't done this for a while. Let me see, how does that? Yeah, okay, and show people just how easy it is to use all the features. Well, then you're going to have some longer stops for food, etc. And those might include maybe a local mayor or governor, coming out, some dignitaries to make it even more exciting and fun, or maybe some, local car clubs, maybe we'll have car clubs all along the way. That'd be kind of fun. People could, as he goes through various towns, the Tesla car club from that area could come out and ride along for a while as he goes through. With a lot of highs and high fives. So then I would also, to just add another additional layer to this, I would create a charity event around the trip. And I would say maybe you would do like sponsorships for various legs. So maybe there's the, California to Arizona leg, and then the Arizona to New Mexico leg. And then, so you'd have these legs, or maybe it'd be shorter legs, maybe 100 miles at a time or something. And people would buy those legs and the money would go boom straight to charity, some kind of charity that's got like 98% of it goes right to the children or whoever is helping. And then that company would get a note, Elon would go, by the way, this leg of the journey is been sponsored by XYZ company, and all of the money that they've given for that leg is going to go directly to blah blah blah. Yeah, so I think that'll bring in more and more attention. People love that. Why shouldn't they? We want to be charitable as a nation, and so adding that charitable piece would just be even more fun. So that's some of my ideas. Now, maybe you want to add your own ideas. What else could he do to make it even more interesting, to get even more PR out of it, to get even more advertising out of the concept, to get more people to watch? Are there other things that you can think of that he might do? Are there ways that we can get this in front of Tesla so that they pay attention to it? Because yeah, I know there's smart people over there, but sometimes maybe one of those ideas, maybe the charity part, they haven't thought of the charity part, so just one set of ideas to add to their thinking. And maybe they kind of maybe they've, put this in the back of their mind and they haven't been thinking about this coast to coast trip. No. You need to do the coast to coast trip. It has to happen. This would be a massive hit. And yeah, it's got risks. Everything's got risks. When I drove down the diamond lane that morning, I knew there was risks. I got all these cops coming in. Maybe they arrest all 81 and we don't even get to the other end of the diamond lane. Maybe nobody pays attention, but they did pay attention. The risks were worth the massive reward that we got for it. By the way, how many years later, 40 years later or something, there are still no diamond lanes. There are no carpool lanes on the Santa Monica Freeway. So there you go. That was a victory. This morning, I did a show where I read an amazing piece put out by 𝐸𝐶𝑟n today about Optimus. And I was just like, I read it on X and I went, no, I have to do a video on this right now. It was so perfect. It was so well written. It explained things so well. And I again recommended to people, you need to put this on your Facebook. You need to what do you call it? Repost it on X. And so if you haven't looked at it yet, go back. I'll put the card right here for YouTube. There's no card, unfortunately, for X, but you can find it on X. Just go to my name and you can find it right there. Anyway, I promote the heck out of that. It was really, really, really well done. And if people understand, if they get the idea of the trillions of dollars of value that are going to be created by Optimus, I think you'll have more people buying the stock. And then, but again, I didn't even comment on it. I read it straight up, no comment. If I'd added one word, if I'd interrupted for 1 minute, it would have ruined it because it was so well executed. And then, by the way, just a little while ago, Brian Wang and I did the regular good news show that came out about 4 o'clock California time. Of course, Brian and I, he just knows a little bit about everything in the world. And so I asked him about every single thing in the world. And we were just boom, boom, boom. We talked about AI. We talked about robotaxi. We talked about Austin. We talked about FSD. We talked about, we talked about it all. And it was really, really good. I'll put both of those cards up in case you want to go back and check those out. And then tomorrow, of course, we got a regular day. Bradford Ferguson will be on, and then after that it'll be 𝐸𝐶𝑟n Basher. So how much better can it be than that? Are you watching in the morning? I know it's just me, just like now, it's just me, which is not nearly as much fun as when I have a guest, but there's no way to do a guest on that morning show. It is the most important video of the day. I believe, as much as those guys are great, and believe me, I picked them. Why? Because they're amazing. And we get so much done on every one of our shows. But that show in the morning, that's where I go through the news and I find every little, whatever I can find that is useful for that day, for that moment, and pull it all together and keep you, in my, yeah, I think maybe not. The 𝐸𝐶𝑟n Basher thing is pretty amazing. And you all love Larry and you all love Nick. And Well, maybe it's not. Well, if you're not watching it though, you should try it. All right, that's all I got for you right now. It's been great talking to you.